Amigos, welcome one, welcome all. It's time for another exciting edition of the show with no name. So hold on to your hats, because it's time for liftoff, baby.
8,
7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Come on.
2, 1, 0. Ignition.
Let's get going. Pongámonos en marcha, amigos. Get ready. Hold on to your hats. Strap on your seatbelt. Fasten your seatbelts. Hold on to your hats. Get ready for the ride of your life. The show with no name time. Where? On radio. Right. It's the show with no name. It's the show. Let's go. Welcome one, welcome all. It's time for the interactive, crazy, exciting, informative, intellectual, eloquent, eclectic, entertaining show with no name. Hey, add your own adjectives. I ran out. I couldn't come up with any more. Off the top of my head. Y ya estamos con las expresiones que nos gustan. Off the top of my head. You say a bote pronto without thinking about it too much, right? What's the first thing you think of when you think of the beach? Off the top of your head, sin pensarlo mucho. So welcome, folks. It's both a pleasure and an honor to have you here with us, participating, whether you're tuned in live, whether you're participating via the app, whether you're listening via podcast, it doesn't matter. It's awesome that you've chosen to learn with us here on Vaughn Radio. I think I speak on behalf of all of my amigos here. Thanks. A big, big thanks. Before we even get started, you guys fucking rock. That's right. So welcome to another show with no name, show with no namers around the world. We're ready to get started and get excited about English, and happy World Art Day. I know many of you are artists, and even if you don't paint or draw or sculpt, you are artists at heart. So folks, happy World Art Day. If you'll notice, if you're following FYI for your English, my weekly podcast, I just released the bonus episode on art, naturally, with your buddy and my buddy, Rob Grams. It can be a myriad of different things. Beautiful, sad, inspiring, poignant, and even pertinent and purposeful. It speaks to our five senses on a level we can't even comprehend. We couldn't fathom the world without it. We'll delve into the arena of art with the awesome artist Rob Grams on this week's episode of FYI. Welcome to For Your Info. Nacho?
Inglés.
There he is. There's Nacho's cameo as well. Folks, it's FYI For Your English. And as I said, I just released that episode, the bonus episode. I would listen to both of them because you'll get tons of great art idioms, and you'll get a great conversation between Rob and myself, two people who we consider each other artists, we consider ourselves artists, and we know because nobody is harsher, más duro, harsher, Harsh, harsher than an artist on themselves. So, artistas around the world, happy World Art Day. And, folks, let's kick off with a little question of the week.
Question of the week.
All right, charge, amigos. It's question of the week. And this week's question, this is right up my alley. Justo lo que me gusta a mí. It's right up my alley. The opposite way of saying that is it's not my cup of tea. So, for example, let me give you an example, as I always tell you. Roller coasters are right up my alley. I love them. I just can't get enough. I just can't get enough. I just can't get enough of them. I just can't get enough. And my wife, I'm like, you want to go on Shambhala? And she's like, not really. So it's not her cup of tea, and it's right up my alley. So you already know my answer here. As a member of ACE, do you guys know what ACE is? Well, ACE is when you're playing cards. It's the American Coaster Enthusiasts. I'm sure you've heard of this group. They've been around, I believe, since the 70s. Don't quote me on that. You can check it out at their website, which I think is Ride with Ace. Let me check it out, folks. Well, ACE Online, aceonline.org. And, I just joined. I've wanted to join my whole life. Many of you know I love not just roller coasters, I mean, primarily roller coasters, but I love rides, period. In fact, one of the funniest stories that I always share with people is, when you're driving along the A4 highway in Spain or the A2, or, whatever, a major highway, and you see a gas station, and that's lit normally, iluminado. It's lit, quite normally. But then you see a cat house, a brothel, and you see neon-colored lights. And when I was a kid, I used to beg my parents. I'm like, there's a carnival. Let's go. I want to go on the rides. And my mom and dad were like, no, you don't want to go there. Nope, we're not gonna be stopping there. I'm like, but I want to go on the rides. So I associated the neon lights of the brothels, if you will, and with rides. And it was, I found out later why we never stopped. So as somebody who loves what we call thrill rides, because there are many different aspects, you've got family rides, you've got ones where the theming is key, right? The new technology and stuff like that. And then you've got ones that just make you scream your head off. Those are my favorites. All right, so this week's question, I know I'm beating around the bush here, but anything to talk about thrill rides. This week's question is, what's your take? Okay, your take is your opinion. What's your take on thrill rides? Do you love them? Do you hate them? And of course, the most important part in every question of the week that we do is, why? You've got to defend your answer. That's what we're practicing here in English. Being able to defend, not just saying, I like this color, but tell us why. What does it make you think of? How does it make you feel? Right? So, what's your take, your opinion on thrill rides? Okay, the ones that make you scream your head off. That's the translation. Do you love them? So, are they right up your alley, to use the expression from before? Are they right up your alley, or are they not your cup of tea? Then you've got to explain your answer. So if you'd like to participate, you can send me a voice note, a 1-minute voice note, and you can send it to I'm Alberto Alonso. No, it's not I'm Alberto Alonso. That's my Twitter. Send it to aalonso@grupovon.com. aalonso@grupovon.com. And I'd love to hear from all of you. And I just told you my take, but then I'll also tell you on Friday when we do the section where Spain is, in the thrill ride theme park spectrum, let's say, in the world. And I've got to tell you something. We are doing pretty well. We're kicking butt. We've got some of the coolest, highest, fastest, record-breaking rides in the world, and especially in Europe, if you just cut it down to Europe. So, woo-hoo-hoo, I'm excited to talk about that topic. If you'd like to participate, send a 1-minute voice message. Send it to alonso@grupovon.com. And I think I speak on behalf of all of us. We look forward to hearing from you. All right, folks. Well, we've got to kick off with today's pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Yeah. Let's go. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Do you know about Vaughn Groups? Well, I'm going to tell you all about them. They are group English classes that you can do via person. And the good news is you can start whenever you want. And you can keep the same timetable, teacher, and classmates throughout the whole course. And the best part, there's no strings attached. Sin compromiso. And if you act now, you can get a 5% discount for paying up front. And if you stick with the course for 6 months, you'll get a 50% discount in June. Wow, what a deal! As if you needed more reasons to learn English with Vaughn. Check out our Vaughn Groups. Have fun and make friends as you learn English. Sign up now while there are still spots available. Call us 911-385831. Or you can go to our website, grupovon.com. And don't forget to follow us on social media and find out if Vaughn Groups are for you. More information at grupovon.com/cursos destacados. You can find out about all our awesome courses. If you're looking for materials such as English Everywhere, my first book, which we're going to look at in today's pop quiz, you can go on over to vaughntienda.com, and we have a plethora, a wealth of English resources for self-study. And again, if you love this radio station, these podcasts, this live stream, however you tune in, remember from time to time, if you pick up a book or sign up for a course, as well as learning English, you're also going to help keep Vaughn Radio on the air. Because remember, we don't get any government grants, which is something I've never understood, because I've seen the government, and I'm not criticizing the current or the past. I'm not talking about colors here. I've seen them have a lot of money for certain things, and then education, there's just crickets. You know what I mean? Grillos. So I'm not complaining, but it is something I've noticed, throw us a bone here. We're teaching people. I'm talking to governments, European, the government, all of them. We've got money for a lot of crap, it seems. But then when it comes time to have a free English station, or at least paying some of it, or helping with the licensing and all of that jazz, it seems like we have to jump through hoops. And in the end, when all is said and done, you're like, well, what are we trying to do here? Well, educate Spain. And Spain, the whole world. Vaughn Radio is available everywhere, thanks to podcasts. So throw us a bone. It's a great expression. It means, échame un cable aquí. And I don't get them, obviously. I'm talking about for Vaughn, for other companies in the industry that are, taking education into the audio visual world. So you can consume your English class while you're doing your laundry or waiting in line because you got to go to the dentist. Well, you don't normally wait in line. You wait in the waiting room there. All right, well, we're not going to the dentist today, but there is some place where you will wait online. Now, this is interesting because you can say to wait in line and to wait online. I think the online one is very New York, if I'm not mistaken. Well, both of them sound right to me. We were waiting in line for 20 hours. Wow, that's a long. We were waiting online for 20 minutes, okay? You can also say to line up or to queue up, as the British would say. We were queuing up. We've got to queue up. Well, where's a place where you have to line up? Unless you purchase one of those fast pass things. That's right, folks. An amusement park. That's another way of saying a theme park, because when I was a kid, they didn't really have, well, they had, maybe it was a mouse coaster or something, or like a dragon, but there wasn't such a focus on the theming. It was just, well, bring some rides, get some neon lights, as we mentioned before, and you've got yourself a carnival. And I remember I used to know all of the carnival circuits in the area. Okay, Queen of Peace Church, they're having their carnival from this day to this day. And I knew which rides were coming to every carnival. And it's incredible now how we still have these carnivals, these fairs, you call them las ferias locales, where you really have a handful of rides and some deep fried food. Oh, yummy, yummy. I can still smell that. But now theme parks, I mean, they've evolved. You've got places like Tokyo Disney Sea, and I have my opinion about Disney, and I won't share it because Mom always said, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. And I'm going to Disney next weekend. But let's put it this way. If it hadn't been free, okay, the airfare is not free, but if the park passes hadn't been free, I don't think I could have afforded them. Honestly, no matter how awesome the park is, no matter how much it's not a copy of another park and other parks. Anyhow, my point being, the industry is big and getting bigger. They just announced that Universal is opening. This is for you guys. Hey, I know I'm not alone. Believe me, I know I'm not alone. There are many enthusiasts, or thusies as they call them, as they call us. I should include myself. And you know about the new rides, when they're going to open, right? And all that jazz. So let's take a look. Let's see your knowledge of some ride and theme park vocabulary. All right. The first one is montaña rusa. We'll review a few, and then I'll give you a challenge or two. Actually, I'll give you three, as I always do. So the first one, let's just see if you know these. You can say them aloud with me if you know them. Okay, no me voy a montar en esa montaña rusa. Something you'll never hear out of my mouth. No me voy a montar en esa montaña rusa. I'm not going to ride that roller coaster or that coaster. You can simply say coaster as well. But just be careful, because a coaster is also something you put a cup of tea or a beer on. A coaster. So careful with that coaster. Posavasos, I think you say, in Spanish. So we can ride a ride, which if you use the word ride, it sounds redundant. So that's why we can also say we go on the rides, right? I went on Batman Gotham City Escape 5 times in a row. Yeah, we call it a marathon ride. Yeah, I was dizzy. I also rode, those of you who know Parque Warner in Madrid, I also rode Stuntfall 5 times in a row as well. And let's just put it this way. I didn't know which way was up, which way was down. I had something called a gray out several times. But that's why I go there. That's why I love that stuff. You're pushing the limits. You're putting your body through incredible amounts of G-forces. Now, I know many of you know the word roller coaster too from the song. Roller coaster of love. Roller coaster of love. All right, I'll stop. I don't want it to rain. It's a sunny day, at least here in Madrid. All right, the next one. No me voy a subir. And you have to use, we're not going to use ride because we just used that. No me voy a subir a la noria. No me voy a subir a la noria porque tengo vértigo. Now, again, something that would never come out of my mouth, even though these bore me a bit. I like the views, but they bore me, the whole loading process. All right. I'm not going to go on the Ferris wheel. We call it a Ferris wheel. Porque tengo vértigo? Well, we understand the word vertigo. I mean, we get it. Alfred Hitchcock, shout out. But also, vertigo, we say more commonly, he's afraid of heights because I'm afraid of heights. Think of it as one word. It's three, afraid of heights. But I want you to put it all together. Afraid of heights. And vertigo is, if I'm not mistaken, hey, everything's connected. This is weird. Vertigo is the name of a coaster at Parque de Atracciones in Madrid. Now, I didn't even mention, I did mention Portaventura. I said Shambhala before in my example. All right, so we've got a couple there, common ones that you'll see. In fact, Ferris wheels are popping up all over cities. You see Ferris wheels popping up left and right. I think it's quite weird, but I get it. They want to make a couple bucks. They want to have another site for people to see. And again, I think views are the key. All right, here's one I love because you can say carousel or, does anybody know it? Did you say merry-go-round? That's right. Merry-go-round. Felicidad va en círculos. You also call it a tío vivo, right? A live uncle. That's a weird one. All right, so I've got your, now that we're warmed up, is everybody warmed up? We went on a couple little light rides there. We went on the kiddie coaster. We went on the Ferris wheel, but now we're going to up the ante a little bit. Subir el listón. All right, the first one I want you to use is coches de choque. This is a staple at any carnival, at least here in Spain, at any fair. Coches de choque. All right. I used to like these, but I don't like getting thrown around. Well, I don't like getting hit by other people. You know, once you drive for real, I think, you're like, oh man. So you have to use in context, coches de choque. All right. The next one. ¿Cuánto es un abono anual? So you're asking somebody on the phone or you're asking them at a ticket booth, ¿cuánto cuesta o cuánto es un abono anual? Okay. That means one where you pay once a year and you're a member. You're in it. As you guys know, I think many of you know, I'm in the Bono Parques Gold. Hey, guys, if you go hard. Go hard or go home, right? Okay, so that's your second one. Your first one is use the word coches de choque in context. The next one is ¿cuánto es el abono anual? And the last one, esta atracción no es apto para cardíacos. Esta atracción no es apto para cardíacos. That's the expression you use in Spanish. We use something similar. So I can't wait, guys. I got to be honest. I always look forward to hearing from you guys in the question of the week section. I love hearing your voices. I love learning more about you. And again, this is not just me saying this. I think I speak on behalf of everybody. But I am interested to hear if there are any other enthusiasts, right? I know there are. And if there aren't, and maybe you haven't realized it, Spain is an amazing place for rides, for theme parks. I didn't even mention Tierra Mítica and these other ones. I think I just mentioned the two major ones in Madrid. And I think what is my favorite one in all of Spain, Portaventura. All right, folks. Well, now the ball's in your court. Right now, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Well, yeah. That'll give you some time to think about your answers. When we come back, we'll take a look at today's Say What soundbite. We've also got spelling bee, homophones, and so much more. We're going to learn English from music, movies. Did I just repeat music twice? Well, yeah, music again, and movies again, because that's how I learned English, folks. Yeah, I learned it at school. I learned it at home, but I also learned it watching movies and watching TV and listening to music. Folks, we'll be right back with tons more Show with No Name, so stick around. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back to part 2 of today's Show with No Name here on Vaughn Radio. Man, we are having a blast already. Even if you don't like rides, enjoy the ride. You know that expression? Disfruta. Life's a journey, not a destination. To quote Aerosmith, I'm sure they're not the first ones to use it, but remember what I just said? We learn English from music. Life's a journey, not a destination. It's amazing. Great song. Amazing song. Which one? Amazing. Yeah, but what song? Amazing. Oh, my goodness. It's like that old school corny joke. Hey, man. What brand of jeans are you wearing? What kind of jeans are those? Guess. I don't know. Levi's? No. Guess. Pepe? No. Guess. Gap? Oh, man. You get it? Adivina? Guess? Guess jeans? Oh, man. Some things never get old, like a good pair of jeans. In fact, the older they get, the more comfy they get. All right, amigos, we're going to rock and roll right into the Say What soundbite. Yeah. Say what? What? Bop, bop, dibbity bop, bop. Say what soundbite on the Show with No Name. Say what soundbite. All right, I see a lot of Show with No Namers participating. Great job. We're going to check in with you in just a moment. All right, is everybody ready for the Say What soundbite? Cool. All right, amigos, it's not going to be easy today, but as I always say, the harder it is here, the easier it's going to be to understand people when you're out there in the rest of the real world. So, example, if you're used to watching The Osbournes, which is the show, one of the first reality shows, which was about Ozzy Osbourne and his family, and you can keep up with Ozzy, you'll be able to understand anybody. Or the guys from Oasis. You say Oasis, we say Oasis. I can barely understand what those guys are saying. All right, well, either way, the first thing I want from you is your take, your opinion on what you heard. Keep it short, keep it sweet, keep it eloquent, and then hopefully after the fourth listen, you'll be able to jot down everything. Good luck, folks. Here's your Say What soundbite for the first time.
McLovin?
We just thought, what's the dumbest thing a guy could possibly put on his fake ID? And somehow we landed on McLovin. McLovin?
All right. So there you go. Not the good thing, or I just said short and sweet. That's pretty short. So I can give you one of the words because it's weird. Okay. The word that starts the whole thing and ends the whole thing is McLovin, like McDonald's, right? Old MacDonald had a farm. E-I-E-I-O. Well, McLovin. So I'll give you that part. Okay. It's McLovin. All right. Let me give it to you for the second time.
McLovin?
We just thought, what's the dumbest thing a guy could possibly put on his fake ID? And somehow we landed on McLovin. McLovin?
Hey, Damian, what's crack-a-lackin', buddy?
Hey, Alberto, I was planning to do some sports this week. What about playing baseball?
Ooh, baseball. I love it. But I'm not sure yet. Can we touch base next week?
Touch base. Estamos en contacto, ¿no? Hablamos en algún momento. Yeah, okay. Let's touch base. Okay, what about basketball? Do you want to play basketball?
Oh, man, I love basketball. It's one of my favorite sports. But I don't know if I can this weekend because I've already got plans. Oh, man, that's the way the ball bounces.
That's the way the ball bounces. Así están las cosas, ¿no? Así bota la pelota. Así bota la pelota. That's the way the ball bounces. I love that expression. Okay, what about tennis? Do you want to play tennis?
Well, I love tennis, but I'm not really a good player. If you don't mind playing with a novice, the ball's in your court, buddy.
La bola está en mi campo, ¿eh? La pelota está en mi tejado. All right. Do you want to play some soccer?
Sure, I'd love to play some soccer or football, as you call it. What time do we kick off?
Perfect. We're kicking off at 9. Are you available?
Sure, but I might have to play some golf before with some friends. It's par for the course.
It's par for the course. Es lo normal, ¿no? Es lo normalito, lo que se hace.
Mhm.
Okay, what about billiards? Do you like playing billiards?
Yeah, but right now I'm behind the 8 ball.
I'm behind the 8 ball. Estás detrás de la bola 8, como que llevas las de perder.
Yeah, wow, a lot of idiomatic expressions here.
Muy buenas expresiones. Si es que así da gusto aprender inglés con un profe como Alberto y un poquito de creatividad, tienes This Book is the Shit. El mejor libro para aprender inglés que te has echado a la cara in your life. Píllatelo, vas a disfrutar mogollón de dibujos para que lo aprendas todo fácil, con conexiones lógicas y divertidas. Es la manera más sencilla y más divertida de aprender inglés. No te la pierdas.
Damian, you're such a good sport. Te enrollas. You can pick up your copy of This Book is the Shit at
Vaughantienda.com.
It's the shit. That's right, folks. You can get This Book is the Shit, This Book is the Milk, This Book is the Milk 2, English everywhere. And, of course, they're all available at the Vaughan Tienda. Oh, and I forgot, English on the go. Well, today we're looking at something from English everywhere. We're at the amusement park, at the theme park. We're riding the rides, or as we also said, going on the rides. How many rides have you ridden? Remember, it's an irregular verb, so it's ride, rode, ridden. So I've ridden Batman 5 times in a row. I rode it on Saturday. So see, if we use it in the past, it's rode. And if we use it in the participle, it's ridden. Just be careful. What I've heard is a lot of people mix up the third column. So they'll say riding, right? Like driving. So it's driven, it's ridden. There's a general rule in that third column, right? Driven, ridden. I've ridden the coaster 5 times. I rode it twice yesterday. All right. And we ride motorcycles as well, not just rides. All right, let's see who's along for the ride. ¿Quién ha venido a pasar el día? Morning, friends, says Born to Iron Man. Great to have you on board, my amigo. Mike says, I'm not going to ride that roller coaster. Oh, man, you're okay. You're like my wife. Well, that's cool. No worries. Different strokes for different folks. Mike also says, what's up, dudes? What y'all been on? Well, myself, personally, I was in Aranda de Duero, one of the most beautiful regions in Spain. It's in Burgos. Many of you know that, I imagine. And it's where the famous Ribera del Duero wine comes from. And not to mention the lamb, el cordero. Oh, man. Yummy food there. Yummy, yummy food. And we were with my wife's family, which is from the area. So we had a beautiful weekend. I'm great. I had a lot of R&R, but also it was nonstop at the same time. So, yeah, I love that. Just a stone's throw from Madrid, and you're walking along the banks, La Ribera, the banks of the Duero, which I learned is Duero. See, you learn something new every day. All right, let's see. Mike says, I'm not going to ride the Ferris wheel because I suffer from vertigo. Well, Mike, it's correct. It's just unnatural, as I said before, because I'm afraid of heights would be, I think, a little more natural to say. All right, let's see. Born to Iron Man says, morning, friends. Oh, that's weird. I saw your comment twice here. Oh, the comments are, I don't know that. That's weird. All right, well, I found the new thread here. Some of the comments were repeated. Chris Valrol says, morning show with no namers. Morning, Chris. Great to have you on board for the ride. Also, Chris is participating in our pop quiz. Let's see what she came up with. She says, I don't like bumper cars. I don't like being hit or hitting someone. Chris, that's exactly what I was saying before, but I couldn't figure out how to say it. And you said it perfectly. Like once you drive, that's not a good thing, bumping into people. Like you don't want them to bump into you, or crash is the word you use more when you're in a car. And you don't want to crash into them. It's just crash. In general, the word crash is bad, right? Here, okay, you've got a bumper. Now cars have bumpers. Parachoques, you call them. Also, we use the verb to bump into somebody. Do you know who I bumped into the other day? ¿Sabes con quién topé el otro día? Me encontré. To bump into somebody. Again, when we look at a word, think of it as an idea. Because bump can just be, I got a bump on my head. Un chinchón. Chinchón, you say? I always mix up that word, right? Un coscorrón, I think my wife says. You got a bump on your head. Okay, but then you can get a speed bump on the road, right? Las bandas sonoras that make you slow down, right? Then we can take the adjective, bumpy. Oh, man, that Coaster Express they just retracked it. See, there's my nerdiness. Coaster Express in Parque Warner was one of the bumpiest roller coasters. So you see how many different words, how many different ideas we got just from that root. De esa raíz, bump. So Chris says, I don't like bumper cars. I don't like being hit or hitting someone. I couldn't agree more. Let's see. Number 2, she says, how much is the monthly subscription? Well, just be careful, though. We said yearly, right? And it's not incorrect, but there's a better way to say it. Because a subscription sounds like, maybe for a magazine or something. So it would be yearly either way. All right, but not bad, not bad. Let's see. The third one. This attraction is not suitable for the faint of heart. There you go. And I'll tell you something, Chris. Just for a little word economy there, this attraction or this ride is not for the faint of heart. You can take the word suitable out. It's frase hecha. But it's okay to leave it in there, but we can also be more concise. This attraction is not for the faint of heart. And what about that word faint? You know that word faint? It means to pass out. Desmayarse. To faint. It's a good way to remember it. Right? Say, well, you know what? I'm not going to go on that ride because I always faint because it's not for the faint of heart. Remember, we're always playing around with words. That's a good way to remember that the two words are connected in some way. And even if they're not connected, you can connect them. It's up to you to, like a computer, to draw that connection between the two things, you know? And once you draw it, you can't undraw it. It's there forever. The perfect example is when we're learning how to spell as kids. Well, one of the simplest but something I'll never forget is, and I think it was maybe my first or second grade teacher, desert has one S. Dessert has two. Why? Do you want another serving of dessert? Otro, siempre quieres otro. Well, I'll have. So two. Dessert has two S's. Something that a teacher mentioned once, and it will stick with me throughout my life. That's the association I'm talking about. And it's so important when we're learning things, because what are we trying to do when we're talking? Retrieve that information like a computer, right? There you go. Let's see. So, Chris, wonderful job. Really wonderful job there. Let's see. Born to Iron Man is participating, and he says, I used to ride bumper cars when I was a child, but not anymore. Yeah, you know what? I think, well, first, great job. So that's the thing. The only adults I know who like riding bumper cars are the ones who have to go with their kids, and they don't necessarily like it. You know, even with my daughter, when we go to Parque Atracciones or, you know, where they have the kiddie bumper cars. Kiddie, cuando ponemos kiddie delante, siempre es de chavales. The kiddie coaster, the kiddie whatever, the kiddie log flume. Oh, I love that. Any log flume fans? You say aserradero. Es un tronco, a log that splashes into the water. Gotta love that classic. But bumper cars, no thanks. I also think like nobody wants whiplash. Latigazo cervical. Like, you know, it's not worth the risk. So Born to Iron Man, I feel you 100%, 110%. Let's see. He says, how much does a yearly pass cost? Excellent. You can say an annual pass. You can say a yearly pass, or the most common, a season pass, de temporada. Because remember, a lot of theme parks aren't open all year round. Even in Spain, they close for 2 months, you know, for some maintenance, you know, maybe if they need to open new, whatever. They you know, it's kind of a good thing that they close for a couple months, because that gives them some time to, you know, as I said, maintenance is very, very important, just like with any engineering, whether it's aviation or rides. We're talking about people's safety. So that's of utmost importance. So how much does a yearly pass, a season pass, an annual pass cost? Excellent job. And then he says, this ride is not for the faint of heart. Excellent job, Chris. And Born to Iron Man. Wonderful job. All right. Now we're going to move on to our spelling bee in just a moment. unless anybody wants to give us some feedback on what they heard in our Say What soundbite. All right. Also, Mike says, Alberto, how could we master our R sound? I don't know if I know what you mean there. So, okay, how could we master our R sound? Like the sound R, like butter, ER, right? The sound is ER. I don't know if that's what you mean. Wait. Then he says the rest of the English-speaking countries don't pronounce it like Americans do. All right, you're saying the difference between the breathy R or the non-existent R. I think I know what you mean, Mike. All right, well, let me explain it, telling you a little bit about my family. Peppa Pig, who's from England, she says, my mother. Repeat after me, folks. We're going to practice. Again, then there are many variations of the R in the United States. There are many variations of the R and dialects and pronunciation all over the English-speaking world, right? So let's practice with the family. I want everybody to repeat after me. My mother, my mother, my father, my sister. The ER is an okay? They don't say an R. My mother, my brother, my father, and my sister. Sister. My daughter's friend, Rafa, her friend in England, Rafi, but she calls him Rafa. He goes, hello, Lara. I hope you're feeling better. Better. I love it. I think it's awesome, but I don't say it like that. Better. But in Chicago, some parts of New York, you won't hear it either. So, and the American R, does everybody know what a dog sounds like when you're trying to take away his toy? Mother, like a pirate. Pirates of the Caribbean. The Caribbean or the Caribbean? Oh, ouch. That's dangerous territory. So in American English, and again, there are many variations on the accent. In American English, it's mother, father, brother. But then if you're from some areas down in Brooklyn, my mother, my father, my sister. In Boston, they say too, where's your mother? Where's your brother? Where's your car keys? So again, I don't know if I want to generalize like that. What I'm doing is telling you there are a lot of different R sounds, and some people just don't pronounce it at all. My mother, my brother, my father, my sister. Let's see. Chris Valrol is participating here in our Say What soundbite. Thanks for your participation, Chris. She says it looks like a group of teenagers. Well, you know what I would say here? Just because you're not seeing it, I would use either one of these two options. I would say it seems like or it sounds like. Quédate con seem, porque seem vale para todo. Seem works for everything. It seems like you're angry, whether I'm looking at you, whether I'm listening to you. So just to be more specific, because you're not seeing anything, it seems like a group of teenagers discussing, seen it about. We don't use, this is interesting, write this down. We argued about politics or over, right? We discussed politics. So what's the difference? Discuss doesn't use a preposition. But guys, see what just happened there? Since Chris participated, she has 2 new insights in English. Now she knows looks more specific. Sounds more specific. Seems that covers all of them. And you know what? Chris isn't the only person who learned that. Because she went out on a limb, se arriesgó, and she didn't lose anything. She only gained. You all reviewed that difference between it looks like, it seems like, it feels like, it sounds like. So excellent, Chris. Seriously, you're a model student. And so she said, discussing the origin of a boy's name. Absolutely. She says McLovin, que es como McDonald's or, Mick. Mick is also the Irish. McCarthy, McWilliams, Mick. Oh, it's a very common. You'll hear it a lot with Irish last names. It's not Mac. Usually it's Mick, like McDonald's, for example, which I think is a Scottish last name. Well, either way, up there in the Anglosphere. All right. And then she says, it sounds like a donuts thing. Oh, McLovin. Na, 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 McLovin it. Yeah, it does. It sounds like a donut or kind of fast food kind of creation, doesn't it? McLovin. Yeah, it could be from McDonald's, but does anybody recognize it? I'm sure. You know why you don't recognize it, I imagine? Because I think they changed the person's name in Spanish. Maybe not in this movie. So, well, either way, I just told you some key information. This is from a movie, my amigos. A very funny movie at that. All right, let's see. Any more comments before we move on? Chris says, it seems like I wrote arguing about, and I changed it to discussing, and I didn't pay attention to the about. Well, Chris, whether you realized it or not, again, the important part is it gave us an opportunity to highlight these two very common mistakes. The first one isn't even a mistake. Why? Well, it looks like, okay, you didn't really see it, but maybe she's looking at her phone. You get what I mean? But if we want to be more specific, well, then we could just say, it seems like, again, that's the go-to, the wild card, el comodín, as you say. We call it the wild card. Folks, we've got to go to a quick commercial break over here. Time flies when you're having fun. I hope you're having fun. When we come back, we'll take a look at some homophones. We've got our Say What soundbite, spelling bee, movies, music, birthdays, and so much more. So, stick around. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back to this, the third part of today's show with no name on Vaughn Radio. I hope you guys are having fun. I hope you're learning English, and I hope you'll stay tuned. After today's show, you've got the lovely Jimena and Nacho in Test Your English, followed by Rob and Andy and their banter as best buds in the lunchtime show. Don't miss it. After that, you've got Speak Up with Ruby. Ruby, 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 Ruby. Oh. What a great song. And what about the Rolling Stones? Goodbye, Ruby Tuesday. She could hang her name on you. Oh, man. Ruby, what a great name. And it's also obviously a color, ruby red. Well, you can tune into her show every day. And then after that, you've got a little bit of randomness with Jules Linares. And then the king of random, Dave Boyce in the salad. A hodgepodge, una mezcla. A hodgepodge of English. Then Kyle Miller will put you to the test on your ride home. Hey, there's the word ride again. It keeps coming up. Kyle will put you to the test on your ride home in drive time. It's only for driven students. You get it? Drive, driven, motivados. And then you've got Frankly Speaking with Chris Frank, the Probo Show with Rob Grams. And don't forget about the one and only Richard Vaughn and Fitz.
Homophones on the show with no name. It's homophones time, cause homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name. The show with no name. Homophones on the show with no name. Cause homophones time, cause homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name. 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 Show with no name. Show with no name.
All right, amigos, it is time for your homophones. Now, this is funny because if you were paying attention before, then you heard this word already. So it's the past tense of the word montar. Ir en. Tomar. Un tren. Montar. Again. Also, it's un viaje. I'll give it to you in all of these contexts after, but it is a very rich word. Okay, we'll look at the root and everything else, but I'm looking for the past tense of el verbo ir en, montar en. Okay, and again, we'll look at all the other meanings. It's the past tense of the verb to ride, if you haven't figured it out yet. And the second word is carretera. So if you said él montó o fue por la carretera, would the word montar, ir por, be the same as the word carretera? Do those words sound exactly the same? If they are, then they're homophones. Let me know in the comments, folks. Also, let me give you the Say What soundbite. Here it is for the third time. Write down as much as you possibly can.
McLovin?
We just thought, what's the dumbest thing a guy could possibly put on his fake ID? And somehow we landed on McLovin. McLovin?
¿Conoces Weekend Town? La nueva iniciativa.
Pues no.
Es un fin de semana de inmersión en inglés. Y es nuevísimo.
A ver, cuéntame más.
Tendrás una inmersión lingüística total durante 2 días. Un total de 24 horas hablando con angloparlantes de todo el mundo.
¡Wow! ¡Qué interesante!
Ganarás confianza y soltura a la hora de comunicarte en inglés. Mejorarás tu comprensión auditiva. y tus habilidades conversacionales en una situación de comunicación real en inglés. Ven a Weekend Town y te sorprenderás con todo lo que puede avanzar tu inglés en un fin de semana. Weekend Town de Vaughan. Un fin de semana de inmersión en inglés. More information about Weekend Town over at grupovaughn.com/cursos destacados. You'll be able to find everything you're looking for and more. Also, remember to stop by the Vaughan Tienda, and you can also pick up some books that you can have near the pool this weekend. Well, this weekend, not yet, but in a couple weekends. I know. I can't wait myself. It's already starting to get hot in Madrid, and you know the drill. We're all just waiting for those pools to open up because there are pools of sweat everywhere. There's a double trouble. Un charco, a pool of sweat. Yeah, you can say puddle, but also pool is another one to say it, another way to say it. All right, let's take a look over here. We've got Mike checking in, and he says, this show is amazing. He says, I've never seen anything like this. Alberto is a genius. Oh, my God. Thank you. Mike, you just made my day. Even though I don't buy it, I don't think I'm a genius, but I do have fun. And if you guys have fun with me, then we're all learning and laughing together. But thank you so much, Mike. It's very kind of you. All right, Chris gives us the two words, and they are correct, Chris. And she says they are homophones. Okay. Mike says they are homophones, but Mike, you didn't give me the words. So I want to know that we're talking about the same words here, right? You're assuming that I think that I know what words you're talking about, but maybe you're thinking about a different word. We've had that before. So guys, always do that just to make sure it's crystal clear, the words, and then tell me if they sound the same. So let's listen to the words. I'm going to do the translation I gave you guys before. They rode down the road. They rode down the road. Yes, they are homophones. They rode down the road. I told you before, remember? I said ride, rode, ridden. Not riding, ridden. Ride, rode, ridden. So, yes, the words are homophones. Ride, rode, ridden, and the word road. Now, also ride, we use as a noun. Can you give me a ride? Can I hitch a ride? I'm going into the center. Okay? Now, just be careful, because if you say, can you ride me? You are asking for a sexual favor. Okay? I don't know how to say it. Cowgirl, montar. I think everybody gets what I'm saying here. So, can you ride me? Very, very different than can I get a ride? Can I get a lift? Many of you know there's one of these taxi apps that's called Lyft. They spell it, if I'm not mistaken, Lyft, even though the real word is lift. So can I get a lift? Can I get a ride? That's one of the many uses. We already said atracción as well. Enjoy the ride. La expresión es disfruta de la vida, ¿no? Que del camino. Enjoy the ride, my amigos. Well, I hope you're enjoying the ride, and I hope you're ready for another challenge.
Spelling bee. Spelling bee. Spelling bee. Spelling bee. Spelling bee.
All right, amigos, are you ready for today's spelling bee? I imagine you are. This is round one. This is the round where I really make you sweat. Girl, I want to make you sweat. Sweat till you can't sweat no more. Now, why am I talking about sweat? Because I'm sweating right now. Oh, man. All right, here we go. I'm going to make you sweat, but just enough. Let's see if anybody can get these on the first go. Remember, I'm going to fly through them, and then on the second go, I'll be nice. Are you ready? All right. The first one is, let's begin the first letter of every word with a capital letter as well. Okay, so it's SAMUEL space JOHNSON. The second one is OXFORD space DICTIONARY. The third one is JOHNSON apostrophe S space DICTIONARY. The fourth one is THOMAS space ELYOT. The fifth one, that was the fourth. The fifth one, RICHARD space MULCASTER. And the last one, whoa, I'm sweating here. JOHN space FLORIO.
¿Quieres estar al tanto de todas nuestras promociones en la Vaughan Esfera? Well, now you can be in the loop. Puedes estar al tanto. Puedes enterarte de ofertas, novedades y eventos. Y mucho más. Puedes encontrar todo eso en grupovaughan.com/cursos destacados. Eso es, en grupovaughan.com/cursos destacados. Ahí tendrás toda la información de última hora. Guárdalo como favorito. grupovaughan.com/cursos destacados. And stay in the loop.
That's right, folks. Cursos destacados. You've got our summer camps going on. Well, not yet, but they are filling up quickly. You've got your urban camps. You've got your one-to-one flex. You've got a little bit of everything. So make sure you get there in time. And I mean to our website, grupovaughan.com/cursos destacados. And you can call us as well at 911-385831 if you need some more information about our courses, of course. All right, I'll stop. All right, let's take a look. We've got some students participating in our spelling bee over here. Let's see what we've got. Born to Iron Man, he's the first one to participate. And let's see how he did. The first one is correct, Born to Iron Man. The second one is also correct. The third one's correct. The fourth one's correct. The fifth one's correct. And what do you guys think? The sixth one is also correct. Wow. Excellent job over there. Born to Iron Man, you knocked it out of the park. As we say, it's an idiomatic expression that has to do with baseball. We took a look at some on Friday's show. All right, let's see. Chris Valrol as well. Let's see. The first one's correct. The second one's correct. The third one. Fourth. The fifth one, you got one letter off. Oh, man. Chris, right there. As we say in English, close. Esta es buena expresión. Close, but no cigar. Translation, uy, por los pelos. Close, but no cigar. All right, let me give you round 2 of our spelling bee. This is the round where I go easy on you. This is the round where I take it easy. I don't go too hard on you here. This is a normal pace. I expect everybody to be able to participate and at least keep up with us in round 2. Are you ready? All right, the first one is SAMUEL space JOHNSON. The second one is OXFORD space DICTIONARY. The third one, JOHNSON apostrophe S space DICTIONARY. The fourth one, THOMAS space ELYOT. The fifth one is RICHARD space MULCASTER. And the last one is JOHN space FLORIO. And while you guys are thinking that through, I'd like to remind you last Friday's episode of FYI is one for the record books. It's one for the history books. How do I know that? Everybody who's listened to it, or many of you, have reached out and said, dude, you knocked it out of the park with this episode. If you haven't heard it, here's a little teaser.
I'm hooked on English. And I've told you that.
Time after time.
And to my students who
Don't feel like doing anything.
well,
You better shape up.
as you can see, there's loads of English to be learned when we listen to music and take a look at the lyrics. It's never been easier to learn English and have fun as you
Get down, get down, get down, get down.
to the beat. So,
Let's get down to business.
we'll learn English from music on this week's episode of FYI.
Welcome to For Your Info.
Inglés.
You got it. That's right, my amigos. Awesome episodes. I say episodes because you can get a bonus one. Those of you in my community, you know what I'm talking about. So, folks, it's FYI. You get a brand spanking new episode every Friday. This week, we're going to be taking a look at teeth. Well, I figured it was appropriate since I've been at the dentist several times in the past couple weeks. I figured it was the inspiration for an episode because there's always tons of vocabulary that comes up. So that's coming up on FYI this Friday, but don't forget to listen to the episode on music, which, as I said, everybody's really enjoying that one. And you can get that wherever you get your Vaughn podcast. So that's Apple Podcasts, iVox, Spotify, Tweezer, Deezer. I don't know. There are a lot of different platforms where you can listen to this show, the show with no name, and FYI. And FYI, you guys are the FYIers. All right, let's see. Anybody else taking part in our spelling bee? No, but that's okay. A nice round of applause for those of you who are participating later on, who are listening at night or you're listening the next day. A shout out to all of you as well. All right, let's take a look at these words. Now, the reason I chose these words was today in 1755. Whoa, long time ago. In 1755 today, Samuel Johnson's A Dictionary of the English Language was published for the first time in London. Now, why was this so important? Well, It is one of them. It's not the first dictionary in the English language, but it's one of the earlier ones, but it's also one of the most influential dictionaries in the history of the English language. It's called a Dictionary of the English Language. Y fijaos, no es language, it's age, rima con puente, language. And it's also called Johnson's Dictionary. Now, did you notice something there? I didn't say John's son, aunque es el hijo de John, técnicamente. But when it's part of a last name, it changes. So, Johnson, ya es como sin, pecado. Simpson, Homer Simpson, no es son, it's sin. And that's, I think, in most of the English-speaking world. And these are very common last names, right? Johnson, Simpson, Sampson. Nunca es son, hijo, sino sin. And let's see. Let me give you the full title here. A Dictionary of the English Language. I got to take hold on. Let me take a deep breath. A Dictionary of the English Language in which the words are deduced from their originals, o sea, etymology, and illustrated in their different significations by examples from the best writers, to which are prefixed a history of the language and an English grammar by Samuel Johnson in 2 volumes. So there you go. That is the title. But it's cool because it had etymology, many different meanings like we look at here on the show. Something I love that you guys say is you say darle patadas al diccionario. And it means to really destroy somebody's language when you use it, right? You know how we say that? Does anyone know how to say that one in English? Le estás dando patadas al diccionario, tío. You're butchering my language. We say to butcher. What is a butcher? Well, a butcher is obviously the person who can give you meat, right? The butcher, you've got the fishmonger, you've got the greengrocer, as the British say. Now they're normally all in one shop, but I still love going to markets. I've got to be honest. I still love going to get my meat at the butcher and my fish at the fishmongers, right? So Samuel Johnson, the second one was Oxford Dictionary. That was also one of the earliest dictionaries. The third one, Johnson's Dictionary, that was the other name for Samuel Johnson's Dictionary. Then you've got Thomas Eliot, and he was an English diplomat and scholar, and he was involved with one of the predecessors. That is, again, Thomas Eliot. Then you've got Richard Mulcaster. And this guy, he was very big. He was the founder of English language lexicography, okay? And so he was a priest, too. And another guy who wanted to really get the language, the words down. And these people, remember, without them, well, maybe some words would be lost or expressions throughout the years. And as we know, at least in the English language, it's constantly growing. The language is growing all the time. But we are traditionalists as well. Why? Well, we have expressions that we still use that were coined by none other than William Shakespeare. Yes. So, for example, that's the pot calling the kettle black. That's the pot calling the kettle black, as dijo el cazo a la sartén, I think you say. It's a pretty common one. And then the last person whose name was Americanized, because his real name is Giovanni Florio, but he was known as John Florio. Well, I guess that's normal if he was an English linguist, also a poet, a writer, a translator, lexicographer, and the royal language tutor of the court of James I. So this guy, now, let me ask you something here. Let me ask you this. These dudes, how did they have time to do so many things? Linguist, poet, writer, translator, lexicographer. Well, maybe because they didn't have social media? I don't know, maybe. Well, let's just put it this way. Let me give you an example. Florio contributed 1,149 words to the English language. He's in third place after Chaucer and Shakespeare. So Chaucer, 2,012 words, and Shakespeare contributed 1,969. So, folks, one of the greats indeed. We'll be right back with the rest of the show, so stick around. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back to the fourth part of today's show with no name on Vaughn Radio. Oh, yeah. You know it, amigos. Vaughn Radio, where English is exciting, it's interactive, and we even have events. In fact, stay tuned, because the book fair isn't too far away, if I'm not mistaken. And you know, Vaughn, we're always at the book fair, meeting and greeting our students. Also, folks, just a quick reminder, you've got Campamentos de Verano. They're for kids from 6 to 15 years old. They're going on in June, July, and August. Then you've got your urban camps. That's for kids from 4 to 15 years old. And they get to go home there. Well, it's normal if the kids are a little bit younger. You've got your ever so popular Vaughn groups. You've got Weekend Town, Vaughn Town. You can also prepare your Oxford exam. We were just talking about the Oxford Dictionary. So many amazing options here at Vaughn, and all of them are designed to help you get on track. Encarrilarte? To get on track with your English, to get excited about English, to get pumped. Otra forma de decirlo, hinchado. Get pumped. It's muy americano, eh? All right, folks, it's time for Double Trouble, baby. Yeah, you know what time it is. Give it up. Double trouble. I said double trouble. Double trouble. I said double trouble. All right, amigos, welcome to today's Double Trouble Challenge. We'll see how you guys do. And I think it's going to be an easy one, especially because we looked at this idiomatic expression maybe a week or two ago. So it's good. It's good to review things, especially if they're very common. So here you go. You have to use the same word twice, as always, in our Double Trouble section. So, encontraste tu vocación. Okay, what you really want to do. Vámonos a casa. Se acabó el día. Okay? Ya no hay más que hacer hoy. Okay? Nos vamos pa casa, I think would be the pa casa, right? Hemos acabado. Hasta aquí would be a good translation too. So, encontraste tu vocación. Vámonos a casa. O ya se acabó el día. Okay, la jornada. Very common idiomatic expression. And do you know the word vocación? All right, well, we've also got to listen to our Say What soundbite. I'm going to give it to you now for the third time. The fourth. We'll see if anybody can figure it out.
McLovin?
We just thought, what's the dumbest thing a guy could possibly put on his fake ID? And somehow we landed on McLovin. McLovin?
Listen carefully. Can you hear that? No. Listen closer. I'm not talking about the birds chirping. I'm talking about everybody speaking English and feeling comfortable. Listen. This is what it's like at Vaughan Town, a peaceful place where you can really learn English and lose your inhibitions. There's a reason it's one of our star programs. Vaughan Town, lose your fear of speaking English. If you want more information about this immersive experience, go to grupovaughn.com or give us a call, 911-385831. Lose your fear of speaking English and express yourself with clarity at Vaughan Town. More information about Vaughan Town, Weekend Town, urban camps, and all that jazz over at grupovaughn.com/cursos destacados. You've also got our phone number, 911-385831. And also, if you're more comfortable reaching out, contactando on social media, well, we'd love to hear from you. Wherever you can contact us and you can just get more information or get a free level test. Why not? All right, let's see. Speaking of tests, I just put you to the test in many of the tests for today, but today we're on our Double Trouble Challenge. And let's see what we've got here. Daniela is the first one to participate. Hello, Daniela. Great to have you with us on board. She says, you've found your call. Let's call it a day. Almost. Oh. We'll use the expression again. Close, but no cigar. But the second part was the hardest part, I think. So the expression is, let's call it a day. Vamos a casita. No se acabó. Hasta aquí. Let's call it. Vamos a llamarlo un día ahí. No, ya se ha hecho el día. Lo que viene a decir es, eso ya es un día. Ya vamos por la tarde, la noche, ¿no? Ya es la hora de irnos a casa. Let's call it a day. Very common idiomatic expression. All right, let's see. Born to Iron Man says, you found your calling. Let's call it a day. That's the one. Wonderful job. That's right. You found your calling. So, Daniela, you were just missing that ing, ese ing ahí al final. So you found your calling, and let's call it a day is the second part. And this is interesting because if you want to say it in the opposite way, a lot of times, like, people will say it sarcastically. So they'll say, somebody's, for example, it's the first time they're playing golf and they get a hole in one. They can say, man, you found your calling. O lo mismo. Okay. Somebody starts singing and, it's not that great. You can say, oh, you really found your new calling, right? My favorite expression, though, is when somebody sings or does something, we say, don't quit your day job. Hablando de las expresiones con day. So let's call it a day and don't quit your day job. Mejor no dejes el trabajo. No, el estable que tienes. Like, no te dediques a eso. It's basically, I love these little idiomatic expressions, and I know you do too. I was going to say as well, but you do too. So let's see. Turani says, to find your calling, let's call it a day. Okay, Turani, great to have you on board. But remember,
if you're not putting together full sentences, you're right. I want everything in context. Es tan fácil como poner you found, you're calling, let's call it a day. Y así ya es una frase completa, because I prefer that you guys practice, putting things. That's why I always tell you, use an example, right? Put it in context, because if not, we're not putting the subject. So let's not take any shortcuts, right? No, acortamos, okay? So, but great, you're right. You found, te faltaría ponerlo en pasado. Pero ves, Turani, yo no sé ahora que tú sabes usarlo en pasado. ¿Ves? ¿Ves lo que ha pasado? So, I have to take your word for it. Tendré que tomar tu palabra, que sabes que es find, found, found. Porque no me lo has enseñado, right? So you found your calling. Let's call it a day. Oh, don't apologize, Turani. Don't apologize. It's for you. It's para que realmente vemos si lo usas bien completo, como se debería. So let's see over here. We've got Mike M. Mike M says, McLovin. What kind of stupid name is that, Foggle? I don't know what Foggle means. What are you trying to be, an Irish R&B singer? I still remember that film. All right. Well, that's not what is being said here. So, but it is a great film, if that's what you're saying. I don't know if you were trying to give me the Say What soundbite, but it isn't. I remember at this point, when we've listened to it 4 times, I want it word for word, amigos. All right, well, wonderful job to each and every one of you. Join me as we go to the cinema. Name that movie. All right, amigos, here we go. I'll give you a synopsis of the movie, and we'll see if you guys recognize it. A butler who sacrificed body and soul to service in the years leading up to World War II realizes too late how misguided his loyalty was to his lordly employer. Wow. All right. So, a butler who sacrificed body and soul. You know the word butler? Gerard Butler? Butler, mayordomo. Who sacrificed body and soul. Lo dio todo. He sacrificed body and soul to service, servicio militar, in the years leading up to World War II. En los años que nos llevaban, el precursor, ¿no? The years leading up to World War II. Now, you could say World War II or the Second World War or WW2, right? So, whichever one's easier. I don't think any of them are easy, though, right? Leading up to World War II, he realizes too late, demasiado tarde, how misguided, I used this word the other day in an upcoming episode of FYI. He realizes how misguided his loyalty was to his lordly employer. So let's start with the word misguided. I forget the word in Spanish. Let me give it to you. Equivocado, mal informado. Okay, como que te llevan mal, te dirigen mal. So too late, he realizes too late how misguided his loyalty, lealtad, was to his lordly employer. Now, lordly es como un don, un señor. So lordly would be noble. We also use the word noble as well. All right. Let's see over here if anybody recognizes the movie. Chris says Fogel is the real name of the character. Yes. Yeah. But in the Say What soundbite, I don't need that information. What I need is what the person said. So Mike says, that's right, Chris. I see you've seen it. Yes. All right. And Mike says, it is hilarious. Super bad. All right, well, if you guys want, we can leave. You guys can have your own conversation about Superbad, but nobody's gotten, I'm just saying, nobody's gotten the Say What soundbite yet. So you guys love the movie, but you don't know what they're saying. All right. Let's see if anybody got the movie we're talking about and name that movie. Yes, we've got a winner. It's Chris Valrol. All right, amigos. Wonderful job over there. The movie is called, I was going to say Superbad, Bess. Don't confuse somebody who gets confused on their own. I don't need you to confuse me. I can do it myself. Just be careful, Chris, it's not called the reminds of the day, sino the remains, los restos, lo que queda, the remains of the day. That's a very common mistake too. So just be careful. Let's go over this. Remain seated. Normalmente se diría stay seated. Okay, but remain, quedarte. How much money remains in the account is left, diríamos. Pero para que veas la palabra remain. Okay. The remainder is 20 euros. Okay, not to be confused with remind, recordar, and reminder, recordatorio. So this one is called the remains of the day, los restos, lo que sobra del día. We already looked at the idiomatic expression about day. Let's call it a day. And what was the other one we said? I know we looked at 2 over there. Okay, so just a little reminder. Again, this is not Chris's mistake. No. This is about 30 to 40% in all my years of experience. This is a mistake that about 30 to 40% of my students make regularly, even though they're familiar with it. Again, Chris, I know that you know that. I know it. I know you know it because you've got the concepts down. But now it's a matter of practicing them. And this is exactly why we put things in full sentences and we practice not taking any shortcuts. Because guess what? Chris had a couple different things that she tried and a couple little things went wrong. And guess what just happened? She just she had a little reminder of the difference between remain and remind. So the remains of the day is the name of the movie. It stars, we don't say starring by, protagonizado por aquí, starring, se puede decir it stars, or starring Anthony Hopkins, oh man, the man, Emma Thompson as well, 2 amazing actors. It's called The Remains of the Day. Let's take a look at the scene I've chosen for you. Lord Darlington, it's funny, his name is Darling, cariño, Darling. Ah, mira, ahí tienes otro apellido. It's not Ton, it's Tin. O sea, en regla general, el ton, el son, estos al final de un apellido no es ton, son, it's tin, sin. Okay? Little rule there. Lord Darlington says, Stevens, I realize this is a somewhat irregular thing to ask you to do. Stevens, reconozco, me doy cuenta que esto es algo un poco irregular, right? It's a somewhat irregular thing to ask you to do. See, I would say ask. A British person would say ask. Again, depending on the region. And then Stephen says, I would be glad to be of any assistance, my lord. Estaría encantado de ayudarle como sea, mi señor, ¿no? And Lord Darlington says, sorry to bring up a thing like this. Lo siento mencionar algo así. Sorry to bring up a thing like this. But I just can't see how on earth to make it go away. Great expression there. How, como demonios, como, right? How on earth did you do that? How on earth did he get up there? It's another way of saying how the fuck. Pero si no queremos ser vulgares, you could say, how the hell, how on earth did you do that? Right? So I just can't see how on earth to make it go away. Hacerlo desaparecer. You are familiar, I take it, with the facts of life. Los hechos, las cosas de la vida. And Stephen says, my lord, like, really? The facts of life, sexo, cómo funciona, el círculo. We call it the birds and the bees, by the way. Una forma cuando tienes la charla con tus hijos. Bueno, where do babies come from? They don't come from storks. Sorry. Cigüeñas. And then you talk about the... Pero es interesante que vamos de pájaros a birds and bees. Let me tell you about the birds and the bees and the flowers and the trees. The birds and the bees is sexo. So he's telling him, my lord, like, are you asking me what I think you're asking me? The facts of life? You know, man injects, it's not inject. I used the wrong word. I was trying to use scientific. The penis is inserted into the vagina. There, spermatozoa, fertilizes an egg. Well, hey, that's scientific explanation. So Lord Darling says, the facts of life, Stevens. Birds, bees. You are familiar, aren't you? Sabes del sexo, de cómo se procrea, no? And Stephen says, well, I'm afraid I don't quite follow you, sir. No te sigo, no te capto. I don't quite follow you, sir. And then Lord Darlington says, well, let me put my cards on the table. Voy a dejar las cosas claras. Buenísima expresión. I'm going to put my cards on the table. Stevens, I am so frightfully busy with this conference. Estoy frightfully, que da miedo. Of course, you're very busy too, but someone has to tell him. In a way, it would be easier for you, de alguna manera. Less awkward. We looked at the word awkward last Friday. Less awkward. I find the task rather daunting. Great adjective here. Daunting, laborious, not something fun. Sobrecogedor, desalentador, daunting. I'm afraid it might not get around to it before Reginald's wedding day. To get around to it is llegar a hacer algo que tenías que hacer. And he goes, of course, this goes far beyond the call of duty. The call of duty. Sound familiar, video game lovers? El llamamiento. Hey, the call of duty. You're calling. Tu vocación. Well, you know what's calling? ¿Sabes qué está llamando ahora mismo? You know what it is. Famous birthday trivia. All right, amigos, welcome to the famous birthday section. We're going to see some people who are celebrating a birthday. The first person was born today in 1965, an American singer, songwriter, and record producer. And this blew my mind. Aside from being a member and creator of Four Non-Blondes, do you know that group? And so I wake in the morning and I step outside and I take a deep breath and I get real high and I scream from the top of my lungs, what's going on? And I say, hey, yeah. You know it. That's her. And she also wrote, I've got chills here. Love that song. Four Non-Blondes. O sea, cuatro rubias. En vez de cuatro morenas. So, Beautiful by Christina Aguilera. What are you waiting for? Get the Party Started, and so many other songs. So I didn't know that about her. I thought she was a one-hit wonder with Four Non-Blondes, but this woman is so talented. And now it makes me want to listen to her other songs because that's a classic. And the song's not called What's Going On. It's called What's Up, que significa lo mismo. It's beautiful. The song's called What's Up. But they go, what's going on? Same idea. All right, number 2. She was born today in 1959. She has received numerous accolades for her acting. She has 2 Academy Awards, 3 BAFTAs, 2 Golden Globes, and so much more. She was made a dame. We were talking about lords before. Well, she was made a dame by Queen Elizabeth II for her contributions to drama. She was in The Remains of the Day. Hey, wait a second. We looked at that movie. She was in the Name of the Father and Primary Colors, Love Actually, Saving Mr. Banks, the Harry Potter series, Beauty and the Beast, Angels in America, Men in Black International. and so much more. And she also is no stranger to the stage, el teatro. And last but not least, he was born today in 1982, a Canadian-American actor, director, and producer. And, well, he got really, really popular for supporting roles in Donnie Darko, The 40-Year-Old Virgin, and then, well, he started co-writing and producing his own films. And those are great movies, Donnie Darko, The 40-Year-Old Virgin. Knocked Up, he often collaborates with Judd Apatow. And what else could I tell you about this guy? Oh, Knocked Up, Embarazado. I'm sure it's not called that in Spanish. Funny People, Superbad, Pineapple Express, The Green Hornet, and so much more. Oh, The Disaster Artist. This guy's pretty popular. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a winner, Chris Valrol. And she says, happy birthday to Linda Perry. That's right, Linda Perry from Four Non Blondes. And I had no idea she wrote so many other amazing songs. Number 2, Emma Thompson. And number 3, Seth Rogen. And this is Seth Rogen talking about creating Superbad.
McLovin?
We just thought, what's the dumbest thing a guy could possibly put on his fake ID? And somehow we landed on McLovin. McLovin?
All right, what did he say there? He said, McLovin? I just thought it was the dumbest thing, la cosa más tonta, the dumbest thing a guy could possibly put on his fake ID. And a fake ID is un carnet que dice, un DNI que dice que eres mayor de edad. I know in Spain you don't need fake IDs. In the United States, you can't drink till you're 21. What happens? College, universidad. So fake IDs are very, very popular. So McLovin, I just thought it was the dumbest thing a guy could possibly put on a fake ID, on his fake ID. And somehow we landed on McLovin. Nos quedamos con, o aterrizamos en el nombre McLovin. Well, I hope you were loving today's show. I love being with you, sharing, laughing, learning. Up next, you got Ximena and Nacho, and we'll be back tomorrow with more. I promise. Ciao for now.